Hi everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to a Lazy
Fabulous.
Gang Hang. Yay. We're so excited
Yay.
to be here and to see you all. Yeah, so hi, my name is Anna. This is a Lazy Gang Hang. If you have not been to one of these before, it's just where I hang out with some writing friends and we very casually catch up, talk writing topics, and maybe sprint if we feel like it.
Exactly.
Yeah. How are you, Malin? Do you want to introduce yourself?
I am good. I am going to say probably everyone in the chat knows who I am at this point. But in
Mhm.
case, I am Malin. I am trying, today I'm going to be trying to write into my space opera romance novel, which has been dubbed Space Princess Project
I'm
so
so
far.
excited.
And I'm currently at the beginning of Act 2B. Um,
Awesome.
yeah, so like I'm past the midpoint and I'm about to do the all is lost for the male main character. So he's a little
Amazing.
bit further in because like he's gonna panic before she panics.
Of course, of course. He
Yeah,
falls first, he panics first.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's how we like it.
I'm so excited about this because ever since you started writing Project Space Princess, I'm like, "Oh, that's my perfect book, and I need you to finish that as soon as
But
possible."
you don't know how much pressure I have on me to make sure that like
Oh, no.
every time you say this, I'm like, do I have too much political stuff in there? It's quite boring in
No.
some parts. Like,
No, no, that is the thing. That's why I like kind of always struggle because I feel like I fall right down the middle of romantasy and action. I like
yes,
having a lot of plot. I really like having a lot of like political machinations and things like that. And so I feel like you also kind of fall
yes,
in the
I
middle where
do.
you need like
I like
50% romance,
this.
50% plot.
The perfect example for me is The Mummy. If a
Yes.
book follows The Mummy, as in this amount of percentage of action that is in the Mummy movies and the percentage of romance that
Mm,
is in the Mummy movie, like the
yeah.
first one, that is exactly what I want in books.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And so it's like been so exciting for me to find another writer who has like my taste in books precisely. And then it doesn't even matter what genre you write in. Every time you tell me about something you're outlining, I'm like, sounds good, add to cart. Like I'm here for it. So I'm so excited that you've pivoted back to this project because I've just been quietly
Yeah,
like thinking
I've
about it.
been inspired again.
Yeah.
Yes. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I am, let's
Trying
see.
to wake up.
I'm trying to wake up. I'm very puffy, as you can tell. Your girl stayed up until like 1:30 a.m. last night, which is a little bit late for me.
It's actually my
Um,
normal time.
yeah, I'm usually in bed a little bit earlier than that, but we were seeing friends last night, which is very fun. We had midnight pizza, and
Nice.
it was great. But now I'm just a little puffy, but we don't have to talk about it. Let's say hi to some friends. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, Katie. Hi, Steek. Hi, Keiko. Hi, Kit. Love hanging with the Lazy Gang. Good morning, Laura.
Morning, Laura.
Hi,
Hi,
Flora.
Karen.
Wow. We have, I think these are our night names. If we were knights, Malin the Magnificent and Anna the Astounding.
That is very cool.
I
I love
love
a
a
panicking.
panicking man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed. Agreed. Yes, Katie says, OMG, yes, so many romantic moments in The Mummy are also action-packed, the most iconic movie. I think
Yes.
we should organize a uh, watch party of The
Yes.
Mummy because
Yes.
it's come up so much recently in the Discord. Like, could we figure out how to do an online watch party
I don't really know
somehow?
how that works, but I would be keen to do it for sure.
Yeah,
It's one of my favorite franchises. I mean,
yeah.
one and two, we ignore everything else. That and there are two movies, and that's it.
Nope, nothing else. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need more books like The Mummy.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it's having a little bit of a reappreciation moment. Like, I wouldn't be surprised
Yeah.
if a lot of agents now are like, I want the Mummy comps.
Oh my god. Yeah. Like I don't really read anything that is actually like adventure in that sort of genre. I feel
Mhm.
like I can't really think of any books that I've read recently that would be more like
Yeah.
specifically that kind. But space version, yes.
Yes. Yeah. Malin's is going to be this vibe, but on spaceships and planets, which I'm so excited about. There's a third movie.
No,
No.
no, there
Nope.
isn't. We
There
don't talk
isn't.
about that.
There is not. Don't Google it. No need. Hi, Michael. Laura also enjoys the
I've
original
never
black and
watched.
white Mummy movie. Is it based on an old movie? I didn't even know.
Or is it like as in is it meant to be based on that? Or is it they just were like, oh, a mummy sounds scary and we'll take the just the
Yeah.
premise and that's it. Like is there
Yeah.
anything related between the two?
Yeah. Educate
I'm
us.
curious. Yes. Tell us, Laura. The horror master.
Yeah. We do not see her.
Third one is stupid, yes.
Yeah.
It is stupid.
Yeah.
Although I think the only thing I liked about the third one is I think it was about the the Chinese army of terracotta.
Oh gosh, I don't even know if I ever
I
saw the
can't
third
remember
one,
what
to
they're
be
called, but
honest.
really recently I saw like an article advertised, like in my like on Google when you
Mhm.
swipe left, you have articles that are related to things you've shown an
Yeah.
interest in.
Yeah.
And I have an Android, yes.
No, I have
But
a Pixel too. We're in the
yes,
same boat.
it's just the best for taking videos and pictures.
Yeah, it is.
So basically, that really recently there was an article that came up about like the title was something like archaeologists are too scared to investigate the tomb of that Chinese emperor.
Really?
I was just like, because of the mummy? Question mark. Because there's a curse? Question mark.
Oh my God, that needs to be in a book though. Like,
I love that. That sounds
what
so.
what
It's
were they
just
scared of? Were they like just
I didn't click on
structurally?
it. A lot of the time, these articles are coming from websites that I'm like, I am not clicking on the Sun.
Mm,
I'm not clicking on the Independent. I am not clicking on that.
yeah,
So,
true, true, true,
but
true.
I enjoy the titles. I'm like, oh, interesting.
Wow, I just the idea of like a tomb that is very known, but that no one is brave enough to
That
touch.
they're, that they're like, no, but do you know what? Yes, but also the other aspect that I thought hilarious was like the idea of these highly intelligent scientists, people who are also superstitious as fuck, and are just like,
Yeah,
we're not touching that.
bad juju, it can stay.
Yeah, that's even better.
That is so funny. Oh my gosh. Kit says, I like to appreciate the third Mummy movie because the son grew up to be very good looking, and no wonder with who his parents were. Yeah, that would have, I mean, they
Yeah.
couldn't have done it any other way, right? The woman is a reincarnation in both versions.
Oh, okay. So there is a link between the
Ooh.
movies. Cool.
If it doesn't have Rachel Weisz, I don't want it. By the way, am I the only one where suddenly YouTube alerts me for things I put on Notify Me? It never did that before. Oh, I think this happens to me sometimes where YouTube will just turn notifications on for certain people that I
Mm.
didn't ask it to. And so I'm really sorry, Keiko. It probably turned on my notifications even though you didn't want that. So you
Or do
can,
you mean specifically for lives? Because on lives, you will put notify me. If you see like the live announced, you can just put notify me and then it
yeah.
will tell you when the live starts. But it never worked. Like it's always been like 10 minutes later, it tells you, oh, it started, by the way. So I don't know.
Yeah. Sorry that you're getting notifications you maybe didn't want. They have a papyrus scroll instead of a book, and the mummy is going to kill her in a ritual to make her his mummy bride. Ooh, interesting.
Interesting. So there's a lot of similarities.
Yeah, for once they're like, let's not steal from this country.
Yeah, to be fair, I didn't check the article at all, so it could have been Chinese archaeologists. So I don't know. It might not have been British
Mhm.
archaeologists. But
Yeah, we're just making a fair assumption.
yeah.
The closest I can think in terms of book comps to The Mummy would be Rick Riordan's The Kane Chronicles, which Katie also loves. I've never heard of this. That's
I've never heard of
interesting.
this either. I mean, I've heard of Rick Riordan, but never the Game Chronicles.
Yeah. Is that still in his Percy Jackson universe, or is this a totally different series? I have enough of mummies since Three Travel Adventures or something. My sim is in the pyramid and the pharaoh wakes, and then suddenly an attractive alert as he hunts her through pyramid.
Oh,
Ooh. I didn't know that there was an expansion pack that covered this. Katie says, my notify always comes through for 30 minutes before the live starts, and I need the one when it starts, or else I will forget. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. The 30 minutes is so regular for me, and then the one that you need,
Never
never,
on time. It's
never
so
seen her.
weird.
Never seen
It's
her.
because the 30 minute one is like, here's, the planned version. So it's like,
Yeah.
in 30 minutes, this is the plan. But the live one is actually when we've started. And I think sometimes YouTube struggles to figure out, oh, we have started. We are now live.
Right.
So that's the
Yeah.
problem. Yeah.
Oh, YouTube. We'll get it together someday.
Yeah.
Um, do we want to do our first sprint?
How long are you thinking of? What sort of
I
mood are you in?
have pulled up
What are
a
you? Sorry, I didn't even ask you what you were working on today, by the way.
well, I am well, let's actually okay, I'm gonna pivot. We talked a little bit about project updates. So um you switched to Project Space Princess. Do
Yes.
you want to give the people a little bit of an update on Knights of Death since we have pivoted?
Yes, so I have now arrived I'm in the middle of the scene in Night of Death when it's gonna be the all is lost for my main character.
Mhm.
So I'm quite far in the book,
Mm,
but I think I took a break from writing completely. I would say in January because January was a dead month for me. I
same.
get a bit of seasonal depression, and then like
Yeah.
work is really hard around that time of the year as well.
Yeah.
Uh, Work has been particularly hard this year for multiple reasons. My boss and
Boo.
boo. And it sort of took me like a month to get out of my slump. I wouldn't
Yeah.
even call it a slump. It was sort of like a break for my brain. Like I knew I couldn't do much, so I didn't try.
Yeah.
Um, and now that I feel like back in the mood, back and motivated and everything, I suddenly started. What even prompted it? I don't even know what prompted it. I just started being like, I need to write this outline. I now know what's going. I know it's
What was
because
it?
I started. Okay, I know why. I went to Barcelona last weekend, and
Yeah.
I like to read Kindle books on my phone. That way I don't have to take anything with me.
Right.
So I can read on the plane. And so I downloaded the book two in a series, which is a space opera with a true bond, true like, fated mates romance and
Yeah.
everything that I read the first one ages ago. And I finally downloaded the second one, was gonna read it. And
Yeah.
it got me in the mood. Like I was reading it, I was like, I'm gonna read my own book. Like I really just really wanted to reread my own book and see where I was at. It made me want to do that. And so I reread Space Princess Project up till where I was at.
Hmm.
So like sort of break into Act 2B, kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like a beat, but whatever. And as soon as I reread it, I was like, I have so many ideas now that I've reread it for what needs to happen after. And I
Good.
sat down, I think it was like, I can't remember, on Wednesday or something like that. Sat
Yeah.
down, wrote an 8,000 words outline for the end.
I was so excited when you were like, "Oh, I have so many ideas, and I'm gonna go write it right now." And I was like,
Yeah.
"Yes!"
And then it became a massive fucking outline. I have become an outline girly, which is crazy
Good.
to me.
I love
So
this
yeah.
journey.
So now I was like, I need to write it. And yeah.
Amazing. I'm so excited. What is the word count of Space Princess right now?
Currently it's 75K.
Nice.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be maybe like 120 or something, but it is a sci-fi. There's a
Mhm.
lot of world building and there is
Yeah.
two POVs, so I feel like that's reasonable. Like it's not actually as much as one. Like I'm like, oh, that's a lot, but compared to my young adult novel, yeah,
Yeah.
not like this is an adult novel. It's sci-fi. There's world building. There's two POVs. I'm like 120 should be okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah. And for me, I am surprise, surprise, still working on revisions for Project Gemstone,
So
slowly but surely. I am almost at the end of a section where I had to do more work on my side character,
cool.
and then after this section, we get to take a little bit of a break and roll into some chapters that didn't need as much work. So I'm really hoping that I can just start checking chapters off the list
Yeah.
because like momentum has been a real issue.
But once you've done that hard work, it's going to feel so good.
Yeah, I'm really liking everything that I'm adding. I'm just now getting in my head about pacing,
Yeah.
and wondering if my like figuring out what is actually the inciting incident of this whole thing because I did write it as a serial and the beginning
Yeah.
is very episodic.
Yeah.
So it does feel a little bit different in the first half
But I
where
think that does
yeah,
give it that cozy feel as well, which
yeah,
because I feel like cozy books feel like they have less of a big high stake thing going on,
yeah.
which is actually nice for people who are like, I don't want to be stressed today. I just want
Right.
to read a nice book.
Yeah. I hope so. I hope that like putting it into this novel format, I don't really want to lose that because that's kind of what I
Yeah.
really like about it. And I like that the first like 10 chapters are very much like, here's what we're doing in these two chapters, and then we solve it, and here's what we're doing in these two
Yeah.
chapters. And we're just slowly learning about Poppy and her regular life. And then around like the 30K mark is when she learns about the mystery that's gonna take you through the rest of the book. And I'm
Yeah.
like, is that way too late?
I
And
don't
I'm
I mean
adding
it
more
didn't
stuff.
I didn't have any issues with the pacing when I read the first draft, like the
Yeah.
last version of it. So
That's what I'm reminding myself. Luke says I'm trying to talk myself into problems that don't exist,
yeah. I
which
would
could be true.
if you're worried about the pacing, I wouldn't try to fix anything now. I would wait until you've done the changes you
Mm,
said you were gonna do, and
yeah.
then reread it in one go and see whether you do, or like ask whoever is gonna be the next readers to check for pacing
Yeah.
specifically, because
Yeah.
you might be too deep into specific chapters right now to see the bigger picture, and pacing is the bigger picture.
Yeah. 100% agree. That's definitely going to be on my next beta reading questionnaires. Is this okay as a novel, or should I be like really sticking to the serial format and try and find somewhere else to publish it? But these are just the thoughts that keep me up at night. But um, let's see. Drop your boss's location. I just want to talk. I just
Yeah,
want to talk.
just wanna have a quick chat.
Yes, I think this is for your excitement for the outlining.
Yeah, it's a big outline, and it's just for the end.
Wow, Michael, I didn't know this about you. I earned my university degree in physics. If you run into any physics or space questions, you can run them by me.
I would, but I will admit it's a bit more fantasy sci-fi than it is hard science
Yeah,
sci-fi.
I
I
wouldn't
have
even.
I've researched a bit at the beginning to sort of have some principles that I'm like hang on to.
Mhm.
I may ask you some questions about space elevators if you have any insight on that.
Whoa. How are you dealing with gravity in
I've
your
made
book?
up a fake component that is actually what fuels the political power of my world building as well. It is called Fentium, and it's essentially
Ooh.
like my um, male main character is the captain of a ship that mines and refines Fentium, but
Hmm.
sells it on the black market to try
Hmm.
and counter the political balance that is currently existing in the world. So it's
Gosh.
actually an essential part of it, which is why I was like, I'm okay with having this fake magical element that allows
Yeah.
people to just be like, do you know what? I'm gonna fly this ship out of this planet right now, and there's not gonna be any gravity problems.
Oh my gosh. That is so cool. Oh my gosh. Just intertwining genre with plot. I love it. Yes, I love an episodic vibe, and having those little chapters also sets up the world. I imagine those mini episodes build to the bigger stuff too. Yeah, they definitely do connect. Like I'm using those chapters to introduce the side characters and introduce the fact that Poppy is running out of magic and rot row. That's bad. So
I love it.
It's definitely I'm dropping in a lot of stuff and doing some world building. Um, and hopefully that's okay. Hi, Amber. So good to see you again. Same here. Revisions are still on tap for me, working my way through a part that I need to slow down a bit. All right. Well, you've come to the right place. Come to the right place. Space elevators are interesting. Yeah, these are the things like when writing sci-fi that really would intimidate me because every piece of technology that they interact with, I would
Hmm.
want to pause and be like, wait, what does that look like
And
again?
this is why, not to plug myself in here, but I've asked Zainab if we could do next month a little stream that's going to be specifically about writing sci-fi.
Yay.
Because Zainab's also writing a really cool project called Project Orbit. So we're going to be, I think, we haven't prepared any topics or anything yet, but in my head, I'm thinking we'll do stuff about
Mm.
intimidating topic at first and like
Yeah.
how you get over that and things like what source of inspiration and where you get research from and everything, which I think would be quite a
Yeah.
fun topic.
Awesome. I'm so glad you guys are doing that. That's excellent. Because even when I was writing a sci-fi dystopia many years ago, like I think that was something that really kind of halted me in my tracks. I didn't have the like world building skills at the time to come up with every little thing. So I definitely admire
I've
you guys.
worked, to be fair, Space Princess Project, I've worked on it so differently from everything else I've worked on because
Yeah, you
I
did.
did a month of world building only and nothing else. No starting to write, no character. Like, I mean, I had ideas of what my characters would be, but I didn't try to figure out how they would talk or anything like that or try to write
Mhm.
as them yet.
Right.
Literally just world building because I felt it was necessary for me to understand as much as possible about that universe before I
Yeah.
started writing in it.
Yeah.
Everything else I've written is mostly urban fantasy, so it's set in our world, even if it has more rules and world building next to it. So it wasn't the same.
Yeah. I think that's so important to not get stuck when you're doing such a original setting like that.
Yeah,
As for my projects, I'm trying not to psych myself out of working on the Eclipse project, but I also want to outline some romance projects, so I'm just shifting from place to place.
fair enough.
Where are you in the Eclipse project right now, Katie? Please remind me.
Tell us.
Yeah, like what
Come
draft
on.
are you on? Where is the psych out coming from? Let us psychoanalyze a little bit. Yes, I would love that. I'm not a super big sci-fi girly, but I do have one sci-fi fantasy idea that I am intimidated by. Maybe you could start a movement, you and Zainab.
Yeah. Write the stuff you're scared of.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've been chatting for quite a minute.
Yeah,
Sorry,
true.
guys. But this is just how the lazy gang is. We just take our sweet time, and that is okay.
We have no structure. That's who we are. We're just
Absolutely
vibing.
not. No structure. All right. So I've pulled up some 25s, and if that's too long, we can
And
shorten it next time.
I also love that in your search bar we have Laura Nettles because we know we're gonna find so many.
Laura, my saving grace, my angel, my patron saint. Okay, good luck, everybody.
I've just got the notification that we're live.
All right, everyone. That is the end of our sprint.
Yay!
How did we do?
Good. I'm just checking now. I think I had about 200 words before I started, and I'm at
Hmm.
679 now. So
Nice.
nice.
I am also zero drafting. I'm writing a new chapter that needs to be added. So let me see. I don't think I got
Ooh,
too much because I was just mostly reading what I had before.
yeah. Gotta get
Um,
back in that groove.
yeah, only about 150 and finishing my breakfast, but that's
That's
all
still
right.
good. That's progress. Progress is
Yeah,
progress.
yeah. It's been really fun to zero draft
Mm.
and do a new chapter. Like I was very intimidated by the blank page at first, but then I was like, no, this is a chance for me to just like write stupid again and not care and just
Yeah.
and it's like very nice break from the
Oh, I'm
revising
so
brain.
excited. I want to reread it very badly.
I
Even
definitely do
even if
want
I don't
to.
count as a beta reader because I won't have a fresh point of view on it, I still want to reread it if I may.
Oh, I would love to know, if what I'm doing has even worked. So that would be very appreciated.
So
I'd like to know that I addressed the feedback in a way that actually worked.
yeah. Yeah, to be fair, yeah, it's also good to give it back to the people who gave you feedback the first time around and check whether
Yeah,
it ticked the boxes.
that would be very generous. Thank you.
I mean, I'm generally excited, I'm not lying, so
You're so sweet. Let's see how everyone else did. Katie checked in with her answer on the Eclipse project. I'm about 25K of the first draft-ish. I have so many snippets and world building, so it feels like I have more, but only 25K in the actual draft. That is pretty good. So what is this? What's the psych out part of it?
yeah. What are you thinking? Is it because of having so many projects now that you're like, I could dip into
Hmm.
this one or I could dip into that one?
Yeah. Is it not an issue with the Eclipse project itself, or just wondering you're second guessing your ability to pick projects in general?
I do feel like sometimes it's hard because I mean, I have other stuff I need to continue
Hmm.
working on, but I'm also very much someone who believes in if you have like a strong vibe, a strong motivation to suddenly do something, just do it
Yeah.
because that's healthy anyway.
Yeah. I think with writing, it's such a long process that you have to follow like the enthusiasm.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. Hi, Grape. Thanks for popping in. Lovely weather we're having on the dock.
Yeah, it's not quite the same in London right now. It's a bit grey,
Yeah.
but you know.
Or here in Atlanta, it's only going to be, I think, 45 Fahrenheit today, which is a lot colder than it's been recently. Hi, Wallace. We were talking about which draft. Are you in the UK? Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
Miss
I'm seeing Wells
Worldwide.
tomorrow.
I'm having a very late breakfast today. We've already talked about the fact that I was up way past my bedtime last night, but that's okay.
I am very much a brunch person, so I don't think there's a limit in
Yeah,
time for breakfast.
yeah, absolutely. Katie wrote 263 words and realized I don't know where some of my notes went. Oh no. Oh, I hate that for you. Losing work, even if it's just notes, is very frustrating.
How's that? Like, it could just be. Have you been writing them in different spots? Do you mean physical notes, or do you mean like on your computer? You don't
Yeah.
know where they went? Because I find that I try to make notes initially in Scrivener, and then I just forget that I have some in there. So I'm sticking to Notion because, like, at least I
Hmm.
know everything is in that one file that's about this one book, and I have like a
Yeah.
specific page that is notes while writing for each project, so that I can go back and find them again.
Yeah. What is the organization system here? Um, we're loving the new hair. Yeah, we were just discussing that Malin has achieved the old money blonde, and I love it so
It
much.
is darker, I swear, than what it looks like on camera. I just feel like I'm straight in front of the window, and on this computer, it always just looks quite light and bright,
Mhm.
but it's a bit darker than this in real life.
I'm loving it. Kit spent that sprint thinking about a brainworm project and not one of the projects I'm meant to be touching this year, so I'm not even following my own rules. That is okay. Like
That's
we said, follow the enthusiasm.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, there are people for whom that advice should not be given because their enthusiasm just never goes back to the previous projects at
Yeah,
all. And then they're
yeah,
just constantly jumping to new things. So it depends who you are, Kit, and what type you are.
yeah. I think we hit the nail on the head. You just read my soul. If your lost ability to stick to a project and my ability to get a project finished. No, I don't believe that for a second.
I feel like you have finished project. That's all you need.
Yeah,
You just need to remind yourself that you've done it. Therefore, you can do it again.
absolutely. It's also the advice to write more books in the genre of your debut, and the Eclipse Project is so far from Cruel Summer. Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. Maybe, I mean, I know you've got other contemporaries up your sleeve, but
True, but
I don't know. Eclipse Project. You have to figure out how to dual wield Katie, I think is what we're learning.
or Kevin Costner project. Write
Gasp.
it.
Gasp.
I just want to read good bodyguard
Yeah.
novels. And to be fair, the plan for book two in Space Princess Project will probably be a bodyguard romance in there. So
Yeah. Are we complicating things? Are we making it worse? Potentially.
I'm just always gonna say to Katie, bodyguard project.
Yeah. If you want something that is fantasy but also in your genre, Katie, couldn't you look at your royalty romance books? Yeah.
Oh. Is there a bodyguard one in there? I can't remember.
And can it be made one? I thought I made my notes in my Clips project scribby, but I can't find them, so I'll have to look at my old document. And that one is scary and unorganized.
Nice.
Sounds like we need a new system. Visiting my parents and they keep talking to me. Good reminiscing. I'll have to watch the replay. Bye, everyone. Bye, Amber. Thanks for stopping by and have a nice visit with your parents. Can't wait to see the hair IRL tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Stop. The jealousy, the FOMO.
we're gonna go eat ramen
Oh my
because
God.
I do love a good ramen bowl.
Oh my gosh. Could you at least tell me you're going to eat something like disgusting just to help my
We're
jealousy a
gonna
little bit?
go eat frog legs because I'm
Yeah.
French,
Yeah.
and therefore
Yeah.
I decided that I would try this delicacy that I've never tried once in my life.
Great.
So
Now I want to only come like -2%. I'm so happy you guys are meeting up. That's awesome.
Yay.
I did some work on the balcony today, so I finished tidying up there. So I guess next sprint I'll try to write some words. Oh, lovely. I can't wait to get outside and have like springtime plant
I
time.
just feel like this is so on brand because of the fact that your name is Flora in the phone, and it's very like I'm
Hmm.
living up to my name. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
to balcony work.
Yeah. You have the most cottagecore perfect name ever. So
Yeah.
it makes sense that you would have a beautiful balcony full of plants in my head canon. We have some notes from the peanut gallery about the Eclipse project. If it has one hater, it's me, mainly because all it ever does is stress Katie out. Uh-oh. Before the royalty romances were fantasy-esque, but now they're contemporary. Okay, well, I don't see a problem with this.
We're just bringing more projects to the pile. Like, oh, let's do this one.
Yeah, frog leg ramen. The Costner book is contemporary, and the royalty romances do have a bodyguard book, so maybe bodyguard books everywhere. Are we
Yes.
just going to start the next micro trend?
Yes. I want it.
I'm ready for it. I really last year we buddy read a bodyguard book together and we said we were going to write bodyguard books after that and that
If
still
we didn't
hasn't.
like it
Yeah.
because we thought it wasn't a. I mean,
It wasn't really a bodyguard book.
It wasn't a bodyguard book. That was the problem. It was like a
Yeah.
fake pretending to be a bodyguard
Yeah.
book. And we were like, I want a real good bodyguard romance book. And then
Yeah.
I read some bodyguard porn books, which is just not the same. Uh,
Yeah. Like I said, I need the action. I need the like political plot. Like, why does she need a bodyguard? What is the danger?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still have the itch in my head to write this because we said we would write our own like good versions. And
Yeah.
especially now with all of this, like Taylor Swift blowing up into another echelon.
Yeah.
I'm like, where are all the, I know in a year we're gonna get all the books that are like Taylor Swift inspired because she's just living a life that is completely unimaginable.
Yeah.
And I'm here for it. I'm gonna eat it up. I do love me some plants. Someone needs to get me out of this fantasy era. No, I mean,
I
what
love the fantasy era.
at some point you are going to transition into a fantasy writer. We know this. You're not going to go your whole career only writing contemporary just because that's where you started. So sooner or later, you're making that transition.
Exactly.
And you will figure out
And
how to do
also,
that or do them both.
did, didn't you say your agent was like happy with the other
Yeah.
projects like that you've got going on and what you're interested in writing? Therefore, you can. Like, it doesn't.
Yeah.
I think the advice is also for people who are like, if you're gonna try to get an agent who's gonna be interested in selling all of your books, they're likely to
Mhm.
want to sell only the ones that are related to the same genre. But it's not specifically the case for you, so you should
Yeah.
be fine.
I understand like how it makes sense for like your second book or your third book if you're trying to like gain momentum, but I also think about when I see authors pivoting and switching genres, like as a reader, I never go, "Oh, that's weird." Like when Saba Tahir wrote a contemporary, I in my head I wasn't like, "Oh, why would I do that? She's my favorite fantasy writer. Why would I?" Of course I'm going to be like, "Awesome, love that. Saba is amazing.
I
I'm
do
picking
know that
that up."
there's an old trend, and I think we're slowly getting out of that of
Mhm.
authors changing their pen names for a specific genre.
Yeah,
Like, I'm trying to find the name. I think it's Mira Grant. There's like, where is it? Shannon McGuire. I think she writes under
right.
Mira Grant as a pen name for horror.
Yeah.
'Cause I read like a mermaid siren horror book by her that was
Mhm.
fucking fantastic, and I can't see it on my shelves. But anyway,
Yeah. In general, I just wanna take down this idea, like, if there's one well, not just one thing I could change about publishing, but one of the things I would love to change about publishing is this niching of authors and staying
yeah.
in your genre lane. Like, I don't think anyone should be expected to do that. I think it's stupid to have different
It
pen
is
names.
slowly changing, I think. We've seen more and more examples of authors writing
Yeah.
within different genres under the same name as
Yeah.
well.
I get it for spice levels, like, that makes a lot of sense, but if you're
Yeah,
writing similar like vibes across genre. Like if Katie writes a fantasy book, I'm gonna love it if she writes a contemporary book because she's the same writer. You know what I mean?
yeah.
That's my soapbox.
And also, Ali Hazelwood just did that. Not that
Yeah,
I, not that
precisely.
I loved The Bride because I have my reasons, but she went from contemporary to urban fantasy. Yes.
Yeah. If there's gonna be a bodyguard book, commit to the bit. Exactly. Don't go halfway with it.
Yeah,
Imagine the cartoon covered pop star athlete romances that'll dominate book talk 2 years from now.
yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
And the cartoon covers, you are telling an absolute truth. Eating a bowl of cereal right now. My crunching is affecting my ability to hear.
Michael, that sounds like a you problem. I'm not gonna lie. You can put the sound up.
Yeah. My agent is interested in so many things I'm working on. That is luckily not the issue. I just know I should be writing another contemporary romance to fit the cruel summer vibes. Yeah.
But
Well,
okay, remember that the publishing world takes time anyway.
mhm.
So, like by the time your book is published, maybe you'll have written both. And you'll be like, cool, now I have a second contemporary and a fantasy ready to go. So,
Yeah. You'll
because it's
figure
a
it
slow
out.
process from everything I've heard. But
And
yeah.
you're not alone. You have the support of a professional who's going to tell you what to do next.
Yeah, that's true.
Just work on everything everywhere all at once. Yeah.
Sounds
I love this.
good. Sounds
I love this.
healthy.
Yeah. Sounds very relaxed. There's already a book that has come out inspired by Taylor Swift called The Breakup Tour. Just the premise alone is Taylor Swift coded. I
Oh
can
my god.
already see that very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, all right. Do we want to chat a little bit about this next question? So, we kind of touched on this a little bit, but the other thing I thought we could talk about was momentum after a long break, because that's something we're both kind of
Yeah.
slowly trying to get our butts in gear. You're excelling at it suddenly, and I'm, getting there.
Which you are gonna get there because we're usually quite in sync, I find.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know that I have advice at all, but I would say what's worked for me this time is probably not the same thing that worked for me the previous time or the previous
Mhm.
time. Every single slump has its own reasons as well, and it's
Yeah.
like I don't think I have any slumps that are related to my writing anymore. Like my slumps aren't because I don't want to write right now, I don't have the motivation for it or anything like
Yeah.
that. It's never related to I don't want to do what I love doing.
Mhm.
It's always related to the rest of my life is there are other things that are taking over that are too hard to deal with while also writing. I can't enjoy it right now because of these things.
Yeah.
So and I think the reason why I don't have that issue anymore, which maybe I had in the past of like dropping a project and not really wanting to get back into it or anything, was now we've got this community of writers and I feel like I can always find motivation in others. Like
Yeah.
it's a self-fueling type of thing. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. I think that's totally true. And I think a lot of people around us also experienced a January slump because it's just that time of the year. It's really
Yeah.
hard to get going again. And I had a like big shift in my mind, and I think a lot of people did too, when Katie announced that she got her agent, because it's like so much hope in that.
Oh my god, yes. That is like part of the fuel is when people
Mm.
do stuff that you're just like, "Oh my god, I could get this and this person got that," and it's so motivating. It's so
It's
motivating to
it
hear.
really was, and I know a lot of people said that that was like a good kick in the pants for them, and
Yeah.
it was for me too, and I've kind of picked up a little bit since then of like, "Okay, let's get back to
Yeah.
business."
I think I had like a bit of a kick already back in December, and I don't really remember why, but in my head, I was like, I'm gonna get back into querying for the art of summoning demons, and I
Mhm.
started going through. I had like a couple of editors that I paid to revise and review with me my query
Mm,
letter,
cool.
and now I feel quite confident in it. But there's a lot of other things I want to do before I restart the querying rounds.
Mhm.
And January, I did nothing at all because, like I said, that
Yeah,
month did not exist for me. It was
same,
just a blank.
same.
But now that February's properly kicked up and everything, and then the news from Katie, which was amazing, I was like, yeah, get back into it. Need to do these other steps so I can start that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think the other thing that I think helps is we mentioned this right before we logged on was the idea of what's that quote? It's not, I think it's action begets inspiration.
Yeah,
So doing it even when we're not inspired, even when I'm not necessarily in the writing mode, but I'm
yeah,
still sitting down, and then eventually I'm in the book, and then suddenly we're rolling and suddenly
yeah.
I'm
It's
motivated.
I think it's because I saw a video recently of someone saying like motivation is a myth. Like you don't have to get yourself motivation. You don't have to hype yourself up. Just do
Yeah.
the thing. You just sit down, you start doing the thing, and you're into it. And
Hmm.
then it starts motivating you because you're already doing it.
Right.
And I feel like that is so true. It might not be true for everyone, and different personality types may need different ways to get back into it. But for me, it's literally just stop overthinking it. Stop thinking
Hmm.
you need motivation. Just sit down and start. That's
Yeah,
it.
precisely. Yeah, me too. Hopefully, this is the month where things really start to turn around, because right now I'm only writing like maybe once or twice a week, which is pretty slow for me when I'm like actually really trying to get through a draft.
But you may also have life stuff that is happening, and that doesn't mean you're not writing at all. So there's that.
Unfortunately, the life thing for me right now is that I have become so obsessed with a video game and it is an enormous video game, and I'm trying to beat it basically as
Is
soon as
it?
possible
Okay. I was
so I
gonna
can
say,
be
is it
free.
Baldur's Gate?
It
No.
is. It absolutely is. And I need it to release me from its clutches. I need to finish my playthrough so I can get my life back. And it's honestly why I'm not writing.
Well, fair, but also okay, so here's the other thing. And I know this is not conducive to being productive, so this is not
Mhm.
answering the question, it's actually countering the question.
Yeah.
As a 32-year-old woman
Mhm.
who has had a string of shit jobs here and
Yeah.
there, and life gets hard sometimes, and I've had
Yeah.
moments of pure depression, etc. When you find something that brings you joy, do it. Like, stop punishing
Yeah.
yourself and bring yourself into a guilt trip,
Yeah.
because who are you helping out by doing that? No one. Like, no one's happy about it. You're not
Yeah.
happier for it. You're still doing the thing and just feeling more and more guilty
Yeah.
about it.
This is
Just
the yeah.
lean into the enjoyment and be like, this is okay. That thing can wait. I'm going to play for however, long I need to feel good, because this is
Mhm.
making me feel good. And I'm not going to guilt trip myself about it.
Yeah. That has been like the the underlying lesson that I'm learning is how to have um unproductive hobbies that don't produce anything
Yeah.
is what
It
I'll say.
Okay, reminder that during the pandemonium, during all the lockdowns that happened in the UK, it was so fucking funny because suddenly people realized they had no real fun. They did not know
Yeah.
how to have. It was so fucking funny to me because I was like, this is fantastic. I finally have time to read, to write, to do videos, to do all of the hobbies that are
Yeah.
productive and
Mhm.
that I wanted to do. And all of my friends were floundering around, being like, my only hobby is drinking with people and realizing that they had nothing else going on. And I was just
Yeah.
like, so reminder that that's actually normal. And therefore, it's actually
Right.
normal to also do stuff that is just for pleasure only and isn't producing anything.
Yeah. Yeah. That's been a big thing for me this month is just like you deserve the time. Like I work 9 to 5. If I want to like play a game for 2 hours, who gives a hoot?
Yeah.
And just letting myself do that. And it's just the balancing
And
the writing
then
that gets me, but
if you get more into like a habit of, doing a bit more writing because you're getting the motivation again and everything, maybe just
Mhm.
use it as a reward. Be like, if I
Mhm.
finish this much, I get to play for like an hour.
Yeah, I think that's what needs to start happening 'cause it's getting bad. I'm just telling Luke I'm trying to just get through it as quick as possible because it's taken over my whole entire life. Um, Grape says, semi-hot take. I'm happy we're out of the trend of YA authors pumping out middle grades. Like 2 years ago, so many authors I liked were turning to middle grade, and I was so uninterested.
Yeah, I don't
That's
read
fair.
middle grades either, but yeah.
Yeah. Seemed like, I don't know.
I
I'll
didn't
keep
realize
that
it
to
was a
myself.
trend though. I just assumed because a lot of agents do middle grade and YA
Mhm,
and no adults at all. And it's more rare, I find,
mhm,
at least in the genres I write, to find YA and adult than it is to find YA only or like YA in middle grade.
maybe that's
That's
part
pretty
of it.
cool.
Michael's answer to the question was to reread what I already have, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah, that helps.
I agree.
Well, that's literally the answer to the question for me as well, because that's what I did and why I started being like, let me outline the rest of
Yeah,
this.
exactly. Yeah, sometimes you just need time away, and that's helpful because then you come back and see it, and you're like, wait, this is good. Wait, I don't want
I'm,
to
I'm
stop.
enjoying my own story.
Yeah.
Crazy, crazy.
My problem right now for momentum is that I know I have a big Tabifo rewrite around the corner and so struggle to maintain work on other projects because half my brain is in holding mode for Tabifo.
Yeah,
Yeah, because it feels like why get momentum in something else when I know I'm gonna have to
because
switch
you'll have to
gears
like
soon.
stop it. Yeah,
I think that makes sense. And,
yeah.
if that means that you're just taking a writing break and, you know, collecting energy for that Tabifo rewrite, that's fine. You don't have to work on something in the meantime. I mean, you're agented, so you can correct me. Maybe you do, but
Yeah, I don't actually know, but
um, Kit said, I do think, though, that was in reaction to YA as a category becoming very saturated. I heard during that period a lot of YA authors were being told to try publishing books, either middle grade or adult. Oh, because YA was so oversaturated, they felt like they had to make a lateral move.
Interesting.
Hmm.
It was also probably saturated because the publishing industry still fucking refuses to acknowledge new adult as a category,
I
and
know.
most YA authors were writing books that were too spicy to be actual YA and should have been new adult. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. That speaking of things I wish I could change about publishing, I
yeah.
would definitely make new adult a section.
Although I have a friend who works in the publishing industry, and she thinks the cause of the problem is actually bookstores refusing to have those categories that they sell
Hmm.
as like in the stores.
Yeah.
And it was actually the initial struggle between even just YA didn't exist as a category ages ago, and Harry Potter changed that. But
Yeah.
before, it was like non-existent. It was children and adult. So
Yeah.
maybe it will happen. It just takes time. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe even with brick and mortar stores becoming so much more rare and people shopping online, maybe it'll be a thing where they have the online section,
Yeah.
new
Like
adult.
already, the way books sell is already different. And someone was saying how they think comps don't sell as much anymore. It's actually like having, comparative titles that you can be like,
Mm.
this book is like this or that. It's tropes, and people will
Hmm.
buy a book based on the trope and be like,
Yeah.
oh, it has the one bed only trope. I want to buy that type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for better or worse, like social media has really like done a lot of reader education on how to name the things that you like so that
Yeah.
you don't have to rely on on comps and you
Yeah.
can identify that thing that I actually really liked in comp X.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which I think can be helpful because it is also helping some authors realize it's okay if your book is already done. You don't have to have an original piece every single time because the point
Mhm.
is you have readers who read the exact same thing and fucking loved it and want to read
Yeah.
it again.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Give me the same thing but different.
Yeah.
I think returning to what originally inspired me helps get back into the story. So looking at my mood boards, playlist, movie shows, etc. If I have written words, I will read those and that helps. I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good way to do it.
I recently went back and read a little bit of the zero draft of Project Gemstone, and that helped. Just oddly
Ooh,
enough, because that kind of reminded me of like writing it in such wild abandon. And like I had so much fun writing that book for the
yes.
first time, and just remembering how fun it was to just write whatever came to mind.
Oh my god, yeah, you enjoyed the hell out of writing that book, which is
Just
so cool.
the episodic nature of the first half was
Mm.
so much fun. I would recommend it to anybody who feels like they need to try something different or is feeling like a little bit stuck. It's
It
just
feels
so
like a
fun.
good pantsing method actually as well.
Yeah,
'Cause,
it
yeah,
is. And it just let me do so much organic plotting that I didn't
yeah.
even realize because I would pick up stuff from past episodes and carry them through or be like, "Oh, I could bring that back here," and
And
I
it's
couldn't
funny
have
because
planned
that's
it.
how a lot of us used to write, because that's the point of fan fiction is
Mhm.
like, I mean, I never wrote a whole fan fiction and then published it. I always wrote episode by episode before publishing, just without knowing what would
Yeah.
happen after.
Yeah, it was so fun to just like not have to be married to beats necessarily when I was writing that first half. Like a
Yeah.
character could be like, obviously I was pantsing it for most of it, and a character would be like, I'm having a birthday party tonight, and
But
then I could be like, let's go.
But you know what? I also think that's why your main character really comes through as like really strong and consistent and has such a personality that comes through
Mhm.
the pages. It's probably because you focused more on it didn't matter the beats, it didn't matter the plot. It was more about like getting to know your own characters
Yeah,
writing
what
that
would she
way.
want to
So
do? It was so fun to be like, what would she do next? What would
yeah,
she want to do? What would she say? And just letting that
yeah.
roll out and not having to force her to go in certain directions. I would highly suggest anyone to try writing like that. Um, yes, and that oversaturated middle grade. Yes, it is Baldur's Gate 3. It has me in a chokehold. It is so bad. Yeah, if there's one thing publishing can't do, it's moderation.
Yep.
If yeah, no one if you don't start it because you'll never get your life back. This is why I refuse to buy it because I know it will take over my life. Don't do it. Don't do it. My whole friend group is playing it And so when we were all hanging out last night, all we talked about for like 3
Was
hours,
that?
it's just like, "Oh my god," because and it's so for writing for a writer, it's so easy to get sucked into it because it's a game that really, is designed around your choices.
Yeah.
And they've really made it so expansive where your choices can take you in really far varied directions. So the branches really just like branch way out there. So the paths that people
Love
take
how
can
you
be so
like
different.
don't do it, and then you're trying to sell the game straight after.
I'm just trying to explain, I'm trying to justify.
Don't do it. It's great. I love it.
I still have to wait till I can play it. I suffered past week from Astarian brain rot because of an amazing playlist I found. Yeah. I will. I'm trying not to like talk about it too much, but I feel you. My internet struggles. I mean, tropes can only help to find what you like, but only choosing based on those, not the best. Yeah, the fanficification.
That's a word. Fanficification.
Yeah,
Damn.
yeah, I agree with that. Great. Oh, yes. And I think tropes are better because books are so broad. Because if someone is like, this is like Akatar, and the question is, what makes it like Akatar? Is it the
Mm.
Fae? Is it because it's spicy? Is it just because it's poorly
Poorly
written?
written. It
You
is
like the
poorly
writing style?
written. I tried to read it, I couldn't.
Yeah.
Like, and I love trash. So for me to not be able to continue after 2 chapters, yeah.
Yeah, I like this word. Watch yourself. Um, yeah, please no. I was already taken hostage by the soundtrack from August to November completely. Only listened to Baldur's Gate 3. Okay, I don't know what the OST means. I'm sorry.
The like original soundtrack,
Oh,
no?
original soundtrack. Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
don't know
that's so
what
interesting.
WOT is.
Is that Wheel of Time?
Oh,
Maybe.
maybe.
Um, that is so cool, Kiko. I never thought of listening to the soundtrack, but you're right that the music is absolutely gorgeous. Um, all of it's pretty. It's all pretty. Yeah. It'll take over your life. Also, do it.
Also, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Wheel of Time.
Real time. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you all for commenting on that. That was very lovely.
I
Um,
thought you were about to be thank you all for coming and then end the stream. And I was like, wait,
bye.
are we not doing another sprint?
Yeah, sorry, I gotta go play Baldur's Gate. Bye.
Yeah. Just reminded myself that.
Let us do another sprint. Do. Do we want to do 25 again?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Whatever floats your boat.
Okay. We are gonna switch
A
to
Valentine's
Laura.
Day timer.
Yeah. 'Tis the
Fun fact,
season.
I did nothing for Valentine's Day.
Okay, have a good sprint, everyone. All right. And that's the end of our Valentine's sprint.
Happy Valentine's.
Happy Valentine's. Now you don't have to say that you did nothing for Valentine's Day. You did a writing sprint.
I mean, it's the 17th of February.
How was your
I
sprint?
we had just we just come back from Barcelona. I don't think we wanted to
Mm,
do anything. We were just like we just had a whole weekend off
yeah.
eating together, having romantic dates, having no dog around.
I
Like,
mean, I think that counts as doing something for Valentine's Day. You just did it
yeah,
early.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But how's your sprint?
It was good. I think I wrote 400 or so words because I'm at
Nice.
1,000 for the day now. So yeah,
Excellent. Very good. I got another couple hundred words. I'm just thinking, I did a lot of thinking on that sprint.
yeah, which is useful and helpful and
hmm
necessary.
Yeah. I have to figure out how to either beef up this chapter and weave in
Mm.
something else or figure out how to split it up and put it in other chapters because it's lengthwise not really matching. So,
Yeah, which I mean, yeah, I have that issue every now and then I remind myself that some books I read don't always have
mhm,
equivalent like chapters and size
true.
all the time, and
Yeah.
sometimes it's necessary sometimes even just for dramatic effect or something to have like a shorter
Mhm.
chapter or a longer chapter. Although I do notice that my two POVs, my male characters chapter, are definitely shorter than my female character chapters.
Do you have a idea as to why?
I feel like Orion is the true main character of the story, so there's
Yeah.
more to tell in her story, which is good because you need one character that is the true main character, even if the others also have their own arc and their own beats and
Mhm,
everything.
mhm.
Usually, you have one person who's like, that's the one with the most fucking issues, and therefore the
Yeah.
most to solve by the end.
Yeah.
And Orion definitely has the most issues in this book, so that's probably
Yeah.
why.
Issues queen.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Let me see. Katie, I found my notes. I didn't have to spend a lot of time in my scary scrivy document. I'm
Nice.
so happy for you. This is excellent
It
news.
just seems like a way for you to delay that problem to till another time when you need it.
Keiko said, okay, I can't concentrate on writing, so I'll beta read for my friend. A bunch of her beta readers just don't reply anymore, and one was criticizing things she would have known if she read book one.
Oh my god. That's really
Interesting.
frustrating.
Oh, that seems like a hard thing, like having beta readers who are reading a sequel and didn't read the original.
Yeah,
It's kind
yeah.
of
Or like
tricky.
maybe was it a really long time between the two and so they forgot and they didn't reread or something, or
Yeah,
I don't know.
that sounds tricky.
Mm.
Gonna. She wants to finish the final draft in March. Very good. I'm quite angry on her behalf towards the other beta readers. They all said yes and
Mm.
then don't reply anymore. At least say, hey, can't beta read it anymore because XYZ came in between.
Yeah, just say something. Like life
Mhm.
happens and everyone understands that. And
Yeah.
even if you're worried you're gonna upset the person, they'd rather know that than yeah. It's a
Yeah.
bit sad. Yeah.
It's the not communicating that's
Yeah.
I think frustrating. I think can totally understand when people have to change commitments
Mhm.
because we're all doing this for volunteering and for the love of it. So that's totally understandable. It's just when people drop off the face of the earth that you're
And
like,
just don't reply at all, and you're like, "Why are you
yeah,
ghosting me?"
yeah. Like we can
Yeah.
be adults. What do you mean, Melanie? You spent time with your internet family on Valentine's Day.
That's true, that's true.
Always at the
I
stream.
was. I was in the stream.
Would
I'm
never
trying to
miss
remember.
it.
Yeah, I was definitely.
I played with Blue a bit, then wrote about 100 words, but like you, Anna, spent a lot of time thinking. Counts. Flora got a snack and got through half a poem. The end of the story is close, and that's exciting, but also quite daunting.
Mm.
Oh, well, I'm excited for you to hit the end. That's going to feel really awesome. Good morning, Adam. Thanks for joining. Keiko said, according to my friend, that beta reader said she had read book one again, but then didn't know the one big villain of book one was executed.
Oh.
There was an entire chapter focused on that. and
Sure, that
other
was a
things
lie.
that imply she, if at all, just barely skim read through book one. Okay, that's not cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if you're like, I'm not gonna have time to reread the first book, just ask the author to be like, can
Mhm.
you send me bullet points of stuff that happened, like a
Yeah.
summary, so that I can get
Yeah.
back into it without having to reread it because I'll have time to better read the second one, but not to reread the first one, which
Yeah.
freaking happens.
I think that's
You know?
completely fair. Like, I'm one of those people who I can't keep books in my head. Like, once I've read it, doesn't matter if it's a beta read or a traditional book or anything, like 3 months from now, I'm not going to be able to tell you anything. Books just go in and out of my
Same.
head.
There are some that like I don't know if it says something about how good they were or like how interesting maybe they were, but there are some that
Mhm.
like will stay with me forever. And but most of the time I will be like, I remember the vibes, I remember liking it, and I
Yeah.
forgot everything else.
Right. I remember the fact that I couldn't put it down, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Um, I guess this beta reader was supposed to be focusing on the logic in the book. Yeah, that seems kind of important. If you're the plot logic person, you should
Then you need to know what happens in book one.
probably know the plot. Yeah. Now I'm doing it because I know book one by heart. Leave Me on an Island, and that's the book I take with me.
That's
Oh,
amazing.
I should. I also should add I read through all 5 drafts. Oh,
Wow.
you're
Like
the hero
dedication.
of this story, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I love Anna's book and I want to reread it, but I'm not reading it 5 times.
No,
Just so you know. I'm just not going to read it 5 times. I
I
don't
don't
want to
want
be hyped
anyone to read it 5 times.
5 times. I have
I don't
to, but I want to.
I don't want to read it 5 times. I'm kind of on my fifth time and I'm sick of it. I don't I'm not enjoying it.
Yeah, that's the thing. After a while, even as much as you enjoy your own work, sometimes you're just like, I don't want to reread it anymore. Like,
Yeah,
I'm done.
like, can we do something new, please? Like, I get
Like,
it.
this is what happened with me a bit earlier with the art of summoning demons. I was getting to a stage where I was like, I am done now.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I will need a solid break before I reread it once again in order to get bullet points IDs and the ball rolling for book two.
yeah.
Because I know I'm gonna have to do that, but I need the break because like I couldn't read it
I'm
anymore. So
sick
it's
to
just like,
death of it. It's like at the
yeah.
point where
I
I'm
think it's also right after
glazing
you do
over.
that line edit phase when you're just like, I have stared at those words so much and they still suck and I cannot fix them anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think I was talking about this with you guys, you and Hudson, a little bit about how I think I just had to divorce in my mind my goals of like doing a line edit and doing some character stuff in this
You can't do it
draft.
at the same time. Line
It was
edit has to be done
just,
at the very, very end, to be fair. Like,
yeah, it
yeah.
was
Because
just
otherwise you
really,
have to redo it. And
mhm.
when you start doing it, you realize how fucking painful it is, and you're like, I
Yeah,
don't want to redo it.
yeah. I'm obviously fixing up the language as I go,
Yeah.
but I'm just not going to focus so much on like filter words and like
Yeah.
verbs and things like that because it's really getting in my head. Like that mindset is really hard to put down.
Yeah.
And it's just not conducive sometimes. Um,
But yeah, agreed with Katie on that sentiment. You
mhm.
are a truly good friend.
Yeah, MVP, MVP. Vibes can be a powerful thing. It's why, as a film critic, I would be very selective about franchises in my workload based on the first or second installment.
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Worst film I professionally reviewed that wasn't by Woody Allen was Star Trek Beyond. I still want my money back. I do not know anything about Star Trek,
I
but
don't know which one that is. I've seen some of the Star Trek, but I was always a gator, like a Stargate fan because of my dad and never a
mhm.
Trekkie.
Yeah,
So I didn't get into Star Trek until quite late.
that's fair.
Which one is the Star Trek Beyond one? Oh, it is the one with Chris Pine still in it.
That's literally all I know about the Star Trek films was Chris
Yeah.
Pine was in one. Yeah.
And Zachary Quinto, who I just know
Mhm.
from Heroes, and that's it.
Right. Yeah.
He's
Um,
a great villain.
he was. He was. He plays villains excellently.
Yeah.
Well, we shall land on our third question and probably last question of today since we've been going for a while. But um, as we're talking about getting our momentum back, and maybe this next month is the month where we really pick up some steam. Where do you hope to be by our next Lazy Gang hang? And that applies also to anyone in the chat who wants
Now,
to answer.
the funny thing about this question is I don't think we have a date yet for the next
We
Lazy.
absolutely do not. We do not.
We
So
gotta stay true to our brand and be inconsistent queens.
in the next 30 to 50 days,
Yeah, probably.
where do you want to be?
Um, God. So my dream goal, like my up there goal, would be I'm finished with draft one of
Hmm.
Space Princess.
Yeah.
My perhaps slightly more realistic goal underneath it would be I I'm like 90% through and I have like just the last 10% to go through and
Yeah.
into it. Um but I also don't know what's going to happen in my normal life
Hmm.
outside of my writing life. Therefore I can't guarantee anything, but that
Yeah.
would be where I would hope to be at
Very
least.
fair. Yeah. And hopefully I'll be done with this draft as well by the end of March.
Exciting.
We'll see. Yeah, I think I'm going to be able to estimate it a lot better once I get through this tough section. And then once I get back into the chapters that don't need as much work, if those
Yeah.
really, I check
How
those off.
do you have a sort of percentage of where you're at the moment? Like, would you say,
So I've got 36 chapters. I'm on chapter 9.
okay,
Um, and I feel like the middle of the book, I'm going to get to move through a little bit more quickly than I have been. And then,
will it
yeah,
motivate you if I tell
yes.
you we'll give you Space Princess if you finish and when you finish?
Oh, interesting. So we have to do a little bit of a carrot on a stick thing.
Yeah.
Yes, actually, it really would. It really would because I've been
Like,
telling,
obviously, I need to be finished first as well, to be
but
fair.
I have a lot more faith in you, and that gives me a reason to really put the pedal to the metal.
I want to say there's no reason to have more faith in me, but also I am zero drafting, which is a lot more easy and fun to do than
Hmm.
revising, I
Yeah.
find. So fair.
No, I would love that. I'm gonna sign that agreement. I will sign on the dotted line.
Gonna put a contract in.
Yeah, because I've been telling you and Hudson because we're all kind of in the mode of trying to finish drafts right now, and it looks like maybe we'll all kind of finish in the around springtime. And I've been telling you guys that all I want to do is read your books and forget mine.
Yeah.
So I think this would be very helpful.
And also it means that then I can reread Project Gemstone.
If you want to. You can just I'll just tell you what the new parts are and you can just read
You
those.
can also tell me just so like it would be useful anyway, just so I can make sure to pay
Hmm.
attention specifically to these. But I
Yeah.
will try and reread it like a reader just to make
Hmm.
sure because I also think it's important to know whether does it make sense now within the
Yeah.
book? Do I even
Yeah.
notice or is it seamless or whatever?
Yeah.
Um, that
That
kind
would
of
be
stuff.
very helpful if you're willing.
I am willing.
Yay. Um, Excellent. Yes, well, we have an agreement. We've made a deal.
It's
Um,
on camera. It's on live stream. Like it
mhm,
will be on YouTube
mhm.
officially.
Yep, and that means it's real. I've never once broken a promise that I made on YouTube. Never, ever have I done that.
Never.
Keiko said the best part of the book I'm raving about all day long is the rising and rising conflict between the main character and his mentor. I cannot talk enough about it.
Oh,
Interesting.
intriguing.
This is,
What genre is it in,
ooh,
Keiko?
yeah, this is so interesting. It's giving me like uh
I'm sort of
Skywalker and Obi-Wan.
yeah. I was immediately thinking Star Wars in
Mhm.
general, like
Mhm.
because there's so many different like mentorship moments within Star Wars.
Yeah.
So that immediately made me think of that.
Yeah, it's kind of the only franchise I can really think of off the top of my head that has that sort of not even just mentor relationship, but conflict within more mentor relationship
Yeah.
because so often it's like the mentor comes in the fun and games and they train them up like in Hercules and
Yeah.
send them off and they do great.
Yeah.
And there's no conflict between
And I
those
wish my
characters.
life could just have a montage moment instead of me having to do the actual work?
Yeah, where's my mentor that's gonna give me all the skills I need to just beat my first boss? Like, hello.
Yeah.
Having written some in my fan fiction, and I need the entire next month for my paper that I'm dreading. Where do we see ourselves in X days? Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Good luck figuring out.
Yeah,
True.
I make no apologies. For Katie, I hope to have sent off the fingers crossed last draft of Cruel Summer for submission,
Oh my god.
Cry Softly and Scared, and to have landed and writing and working on a new book. So,
This is so exciting.
decision will be made. So, Katie, next time we come and do a Lazy Gang stream at an
Tell us whether
undetermined
you've
time,
achieved that. Yeah.
which book will you be committing to? We will be asking.
And I also want to know whether it is, in fact, sent off.
Mhm. Girl, I just want to have written more than 10 words on a page, please.
That's also a very valid goal and
Yeah,
a very relatable one.
yeah, absolutely fair. We've made a tough ask. Did I say paddle? Pedal?
I
Pedal.
don't know.
Hopefully I said pedal. OMG, mutual motivation. Love that plan. See? Now it's a
And
genius.
also, it can become mutual failure.
Yeah, now we're in it together, and it's not just my fault.
Exactly.
This is why we need writing friends. Karen on a stick sounds like a discount store sock puppet on the same shelf as the adult. Like, where did Karen on a stick come from?
I don't know. Did we say that accidentally, or was that in the comments and we didn't see it?
Adam, I'm lost here. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I missed this memo, but are you planning to query Gemstone? Great. I don't know. I am changing my mind rapidly at every moment. Like, as my confidence goes up and down, my aspirations change.
I mean, like, would you want to try, or
Yes, I think I would. I
okay?
think I think I do want to try because I do want the experience of querying and to have that practice and have that experience and my expectations for it would be very low just because I don't know if cozy fantasy has totally crossed over to traditional yet. I think it's
There's
starting
quite a lot.
to.
Yeah.
But a lot of the like as I've been looking at comps because I am thinking about querying, I've been looking at comps and I
Mm.
find some really good ones that are self-published. And
Yeah.
I'm still not finding a lot of
Yes,
comps in the
because
mainstream.
I would say the main cozy fantasies that I've seen a lot of in recent years is mostly sort of D&D inspired type of
Mhm.
cozy fantasy,
Yeah.
and maybe less so gas lamp, not
Yeah,
gaslight.
exactly. Yeah, mine's very niche. It's really not got a lot of D&D flavor to it, although that's
Mm,
what inspired me. I very much scraped all the D&D off of it,
yeah.
or filed the serial numbers off. Um, so I don't know. I don't know if it fits in with traditional publishing. And I also don't know if I'm a traditional publishing girly. This is something I've been like crisising about in my mind is just like I am not one of those people who has folders and folders of projects on deck. And so I don't know if an agent would really have a lot of interest in me because what do I bring to the table? Not quite a lot.
Very, very polished initial drafts.
Yeah, it would
And
be interesting.
therefore the promise of more of the same.
Yeah, yeah. Find me an agent that's okay with me, I'm always going to be a weekend writer. That,
Yeah.
me having a 9 to 5 is not ever going to change if I were to
Yes,
be
but I
interested.
mean that is the case for most authors, to be fair.
Yeah,
And like a lot of published authors are still working day jobs at the same time. That's
true.
the majority.
Yeah, that wouldn't be anything new. These are just the things I tell to, self-sabotage.
Yeah, but, I
So,
mean, there's nothing wrong with wanting to be a hybrid published author, which happens a
yeah.
lot more nowadays. So if you have, like, in my mind, I know some of my projects are going to lean themselves more towards
Hmm.
publishing, self-publishing, and then some I'm like, these could be traditionally published. Maybe I should
Yeah.
try and push for that and see whether I can achieve that.
Yeah.
But I'd eventually would love to have both if possible. You know?
Agreed. Yeah. I still feel like Gemstone is right now more suited to the self-publishing scene, but I do want to try and maybe this will be the thing that crosses over. You know, maybe they will
Yeah.
finally start picking up more cozy fantasy instead of just picking up
You gotta
self-publishing titles that do
remember
well.
you gotta remember again how slow the traditionally publishing process is and how
Hmm.
many of those projects are currently probably on submission or with agents
Yeah.
and just haven't hit the shelves yet, but
Hmm.
they're probably right now in that process and just not
Yeah.
out yet.
Yeah. Very true. So right now I'm just trying to make the book as good as I can make it, and I would love to try and throw some queries out there by the end of the year. Just so I don't miss the boat, like Malin said, like if the trend is right around the corner and it's finally going to hit traditional publishing, I don't want to be so behind. Oh, it's so easy to spiral.
Yeah. It's easy to have more and more things to worry about.
See how I just keep going and keep going?
At some point, you just gotta do the thing and not
Right,
think about the thing.
right. Flora said, I hope to have finished this whip and then started just vibing around some ideas for what's next.
Nice.
Awesome. Um, the book is high fantasy, but it's in German, so I can't read it. Oh my God. Oh no,
Maybe
of
she'll
course
get
not.
super famous and it will get translated into several languages and
Yeah,
we'll get it in English.
we'll keep our fingers crossed. Promises made on YouTube are always kept.
Of course, Katie. Of course.
Main character mentor conflict made me think of Bruce Wayne and Raja Ghul.
Yeah, that's a good example.
That is a
Yeah.
good example. Not that mentor, not really. I have so much to say about this man. I guess you said
Carrot. You were talking about carrot
Oh,
on a stick.
carrot on a stick.
That just
Yes.
hit me. Like, I was like, that's what it was. It
Am I
probably
just
sounded like carrot on a stick.
I apologize if I'm really just having bush mouth today and mumbling all my words, I guess. Is gemstone, is it low stakes, low conflict, cozy fantasy, or um that's also something I'm struggling with, Grape. Is it I I really need to stop calling it cozy fantasy because I think it has a cozy lean, but it does have stakes.
Yeah.
Um,
I would say the first half is cozier
mhm,
type of thing. And then the second half, the stakes go higher and
yeah,
make it feel slightly more intense. It is still very much the kind of book where you know things will be okay by the end.
mhm,
Like, I feel like that's part of the cozy genre in general.
yeah,
Um, but I would say the stakes are higher than the perfect example of Legends and Lattes, where
yeah,
the main thing is, can I open a coffee shop here? You know?
yeah. So I have to change how I'm branding it, I think, and that's part of why I don't know where it fits. Because it has that cozy feeling, but I'm a plot girly, what can I say?
Mm,
I can't write a book that doesn't have some sort of machination in it.
yeah.
And this book definitely has that. So that'll be interesting for my beta readers on this round. Like, one thing I do want to ask is, should I take the stakes down? I have no idea what I would do with that. Um,
I
but
think it's more a question of write the thing you want to write and then figure out what,
mm,
tropes and format and genre, etc. it slots
yeah,
in, rather than try to make it fit that mold.
yeah. It's a
Because
tricky
you've
thing,
written
I've
a good
realized.
book. There's like the plot makes sense, everything is good. Like, it doesn't. It's what you like
Hmm.
writing as well.
Yeah, it is.
There's a bit of a trend going on with calling everything cozy this, cozy that, the same way that people are like old money
Hmm.
this, old money that bullshit. It's just it doesn't need to fit within the trend exactly.
Yeah, it's something that I'm hitting on and realizing is like Project Gemstone is a mix of a lot of things and
Mm,
it fits and doesn't quite fit in a lot of boxes. And I don't know
yeah.
how I ended up in the middle of so many Venn diagrams, but it's kind of a tough thing for me to label. I don't know how I wrote such a weird little book.
Yeah.
Uh, um, So I don't know. Hopefully, if like the trend of cozy fantasy was to actually take off as a real like subgenre, I think I would definitely market it to people who liked Legends and Lattes but wanted more plot. Like that's something I've seen from a lot of
Yeah.
people who read Legends and Lattes, and I was one of them who loved the vibes, obsessed with the characters supporting each other, and knowing that everything was going to be okay, but also just being bored.
Yeah.
And that was so I think that's something that like my book would fit in the middle of those two genres.
Yes.
But so far it hasn't really
Like the
become a
highest stakes.
subgenre. So
Yeah.
it's hard to have things that kind of ride lines when the lines aren't there yet.
Yeah.
um, that was my rant about that. Yeah, the worry spiral about doing the thing is so real.
Yeah.
For Michael, I just hope to be farther along in my project. I'm not scheduled to finish until late this year. Progress is progress.
Yes.
I fear being dumb, but like, what exactly is cozy fantasy? Precisely. You're not dumb. It's just that it's so new. It's being defined right now in self-publishing scenes. Um, and
It
so,
generally speaking, most people will expect cozy fantasy to be low stakes
yeah.
fantasy where, you know, everything's going to be okay by the end. You don't have to stress about anything.
Mhm.
And there's often, and that's what is so loose, is a lot of people will personally define it a certain way. Like I would personally define it as like it feels like
Mhm.
a warm hug or like a
Yeah. I read
chocolate.
a I read an interesting interview or article or something that Travis Baldree gave about it, and he said he thinks of it as like cozy fantasy is stories about the characters, like their personal problems, their personal conflicts. Their conflicts don't rise to the plane of like the whole entire world, but it's like which their problems seem big to them because it's their life.
Yeah.
And the stakes are, high to them, but it's not like on the grandest scale that most fantasy is. So like in the first half of the book in particular, like Poppy's problems are her personal problems. There are problems
Mm,
about her business. She's estranged from her family. Her magic is running out. And those sorts of things. It's not like trying to save the city.
yeah.
And then by the end of the book, it does kind of like ratchet up a little bit. And her personal problems kind of get entangled into some larger problems. But
Yeah.
yeah, you're not dumb, Katie. It's so new. It's so new.
And it is like a kind of throwaway word. Like a lot of people are just using it loosely,
Mhm.
um, because it's so trendy right now. So I feel like a
Yeah.
lot of people will use it for books that aren't partially cozy. The
Yeah.
same way that I think that happened a lot, and I think the genre rose because of the rise of cozy games.
Mhm.
There's so many videos about recommendations for cozy games to play, and half of the time when I watch these, I'm like, that's not cozy. That looks stressful as fuck.
Yeah.
Therefore, it's
It's
not cozy.
it's just pretty art. Doesn't make it a cozy game.
Exactly.
Yeah, cozy gaming has definitely been a trend. And one another aspect that I think is going to become an important bullet point of cozy fantasy is inclusivity. That's been something
Yeah.
that the self-publishing space has really latched onto with cozy fantasy is like queer normative worlds, and things like that. And I've really enjoyed that. Like I just read Arrival Most Vile, which is a cozy fantasy, very D&D inspired, and
Mm.
the plot of that is a potion maker, has a very established store, and then someone across the street opens a new potion shop, and he's like, "Excuse me, this is my street." And so they become rivals and lovers. Um, and so obviously that's another example of like this is their personal conflict
Yeah.
of
The
just their
world is really
everyday lives. Yeah.
different.
Um, Grape said, "Okay, perfect. I did not like Legends and Lattes at all."
I did. I enjoyed it.
I thought it was really sweet. It took me a long time to get through it because there was no reason really to keep turning the page, but when I was
Mm.
reading it, I really enjoyed it
I would
as
also
like little
say
bites.
I don't know if I would have kept on reading it physically, but I like the fact that Travis Baldree started his career as a voice actor for
Mm,
books. What is that like a specific job title and I'm forgetting the words? Like what is
um,
that called? Like a
narrator, audiobook
yeah,
narrator.
yeah. So he's an audiobook narrator. from trade, and then decided to write his own novel. So he's the one narrating it and everything, and doing all the voices and all that. So I thought it
Mhm.
was pretty cool to be able to listen to himself
Yeah,
tell the
it is
story.
very cool. I wish I had done it on audio. I think I would have enjoyed it, like you said.
It's interesting. I would say I didn't like personally the part that was more like romantic about the book because he has such a D&D-esque voice, but I thought
Mhm.
everything else was great because he's really good at making like D&D type of voices. Like it really
Yeah.
reminded me of being with my DM when we're sitting at the table and he's making all those character voices and we're
Yeah.
like, what about that guy in the corner? He's like, oh, for fuck's sake, I have to make a new accent.
We pull up a new voice.
Yeah, it made me feel like that. So that's why I liked it.
I love these raccoon emojis.
Glad to
It's
hear.
really making me giggle. Before I forget, Malin, whenever we end, will you be sending us off again with a few words in French?
I will try to remember.
Cozy could be described as a lack of aggression on a scale of Winnie the Pooh to 10, think 4 or lower. Not very aggressive at all. I think
Yeah.
that's fair. So it's like contemporary, but in a fantasy setting. Yeah, I think that's a really great way to frame it, actually.
Yes.
Yeah, like personal problems in a fantasy world.
Yeah, exactly.
That mix honestly just sounds so perfect. I would definitely pick something like that up in a bookstore. Oh, okay. I suppose so. Right, kind of aggressive fantasy stories. That's okay. You don't have to write cozy. You can write,
Yeah, I feel like it's not because it's a trend that it's overtaking everything else. People are still fucking loving dragons and
yeah,
stuff
yeah,
and all of that. So
yeah. Dark fantasy and grimdark is not going anywhere. Don't
yeah,
worry about it. Now that it's on my mind, Greta Gerwig's Barbie could be used as an example of cozy sci-fi. The premise being Mattel has terraformed a mirror world to heighten the independence of young girls.
I can
There
see that.
is enough conflict to propel the story, but it comes from inner spiritual turmoil much more than it does from any of the antagonists.
Yeah, that's true. I can
Well, I think,
definitely see
yeah,
that.
that really hits on why Barbie is so sweet as well, I think.
Mm.
So fun to think of it as a like alternate dimension sci-fi. That's so
It
fun.
is sort of a sci-fi though, yeah,
Yeah.
because they do go to a whole other world.
Yeah, I
It's
like
a
that.
portal fantasy.
Yeah, it's a portal fantasy.
That's what it is.
Uh, I didn't like it for the reasons Anna gave earlier. I would have loved it had there been more conflict and stakes because I did really like the characters. Yeah, same thing. It was like once I picked it up and started reading it, I really enjoyed it. And then when
Yeah.
I put it down, there wasn't like a urge to pick it up again because I didn't need to know what was going to happen next. Because I kind of knew like they're going to get the oven. They're going to come up with a new treat. Like,
Yeah, but that the thing is like I really like that when I'm feeling stressed by real life. And
totally.
sometimes I'm not gonna want to pick up a book that's gonna have really intense high stakes because I'm like, everything is
Hmm.
stressful in real life right now.
Yeah.
And so there's something nice and just yeah, cozy about picking up a book where you're like, yeah, they'll figure that out. Oh yeah, there you
Yeah.
go, they figured it out.
We got a new cinnamon roll. Yes. Hi, Caitlin.
Hi.
We're probably actually about to wrap up. I'm so sorry.
Sorry, Caitlin.
Um, yeah, that's the end of the comments here, and that was kind of all that I had prepped for us to talk about. Um, wow. Do we want to do another sprint, or I mean, we've already been going for 2.5 hours. I'm sorry we chatted a lot today, but I got a lot out of this conversation. I think this was
Yeah,
very nice.
I feel like it was quite cathartic, like
Hmm.
talking through the project changes and just where we're
Yeah.
at and how we're working it out. I feel like that was
I
good.
yeah, I've clearly had a lot to get off my chest, so thanks for listening, y'all. Um,
Michael is demanding a sprint. We could do a short one. We could do like a 10-minute type of sprint or something.
sure. I'm sure you're ready
Like
to get to dinner, Malin, so I'll let you decide how
not
long we
yet.
should
It's
go.
5:20.
Okay.
Yeah. We started earlier than we sometimes do because normally we start like more around dinner time, but this was
True.
3 p.m. for me, so
Okay, good. Okay, looks like we could do a short one. We'll do a short one. Oh, and also because I picked up a special timer for you, Malin, so we do have to do a little sprint.
there we go.
Hee hee. I'm so glad
Just
we didn't forget. to do this one.
And then it's a bit of a wrap up.
Yeah. So let me just go to my cathedral timer since you just went to Barcelona and maybe went to this is where is this cathedral? But
I don't know. It looks
let
pretty
me
impressive.
fix our time here. Just based on your beautiful Barcelona pictures, I wanted to gift you with this. Um, so
How long do you
so
want to do? Yeah.
you want to do 10?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Oh, look at you. Amazing.
Aha. Okay. So here's your 10 minutes on the clock, everybody. Let's wrap up what we were doing, get our notes made in a place where we will remember where the notes
Yes.
are.
We're not looking at you, Katie.
And we'll see you on the other side. All right, everyone. Serenity. There's the end of our cathedral sprint.
Oh no, I'm on the other side now. It's weird.
Oh no, hold on. Let me switch. Okay.
Fix it.
Sorry, I don't know what was going on with my StreamYard. I was like I'm
Mm.
on StreamYard, I could see that I was on the screen, and then on YouTube, I could see I was not.
Yeah, you disappeared briefly, and then you kept like coming back and disappearing again, and coming back and disappearing again. I was like, "What's going on?"
We really just couldn't have a stream without one little technical difficulty.
Yeah, just need one at least. StreamYard
Uh,
could not let it go.
well, I hope you enjoyed your little sprint, Michael. Hopefully that helped you get done what you needed to get done. Um,
I managed to still get like maybe like 150 words extra, so this was
nice.
actually quite a
Oh
productive
my
last
gosh.
few minutes.
Slay.
And also, I had finished the previous sprint at the end of a chapter in a dramatic moment, like it was the proper all is
Yes.
lost for Morgan. And so I needed to start the next chapter with Orion. And I think it was good that now I have started it. So I'm not going to have to plunge back into my document being
Mm,
like, where do I start now?
yeah. Yeah. Reducing the friction to picking it up again.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I just got another couple hundred words. And I'm really looking forward to finishing this chapter so that I don't have to be on a blank page anymore.
Yes.
Let me see here. Steek said, wanted to catch the stream today, but I'm tussling with guests, so I'll just drop a like and comments. Lots of love. Mwah. Thanks for stopping by. Katie got 641 words for the stream and finished a scene in this chapter. Excellent
Nice.
job. I thought you said that you got that much in the 10 minutes, and I was like, oh my God,
That would be really impressive.
that's fantastic. Thank you for coming. Thank you all for spending some Saturday time with us. This
Yes.
was really lovely and always
As
loved hanging out.
usual, felt like just hanging out with friends, doing some work
Yeah.
together.
Yeah. Do you have anything on the horizon, Malin, you want to plug? Anything coming up on the channel?
I yes and no. I haven't edited anything, so I can't be like, I have a video coming up. But I have a few that I need to edit. And I've got one where I'm just gonna finally review my reading journal from last year. So
Cool.
as usual, I'm late for everything right now with my videos. So this was meant to be in January as well, but it's not
Don't
gonna be in
worry.
January.
I'm gonna watch it all the same. It doesn't matter. I am filming a writing vlog that's going to go for an indeterminate amount of time while I'm revising.
Nice.
I'm revising slowly, so that makes me feel like the vlog is going to go on for a while. And I think I am going to film a video for hitting 1,000 subscribers. Holy
Yes.
moly. That
Congratulations
still
again.
sounds weird. But I did put it up to vote, and thank you all for voting. I think last time I checked, the winner was reading my old sci-fi dystopia.
Yes, that's the one I voted for.
And it was going back and forth quite a bit, so I wasn't sure it was going to win. Let me pull it up. Hold on. Um, where is it? Yes. So this is what I'm going to read.
Oh
I
my
haven't looked at this
god.
thing since 2018. It's about 75K.
This is a full ass novel.
It is, but I only got into Act 2. I wrote 75K and I didn't know how to plot, y'all. And it's we'll talk about it in the video, but I'm gonna read this weekend and hopefully I can read it in a couple sittings. And I'll edit that at some point.
Oh my god, I'm so excited.
Other than that, I'll have a solo stream at the end of this month. It's going to be on the last Tuesday of the month this time, and we'll have a
It's
lazy game stream
usually
on
at a
that.
time I'm sleeping, I think, or when I'm going to
Mm.
bed, and I usually get to say hi, bye.
Hi, bye, and I always appreciate it. um, but yeah, thank you all so much for joining. Bye for now. Bye. Yay, thank you. And we will see you at another time sometime in the future
Yeah,
that
we
we
haven't
have not
planned it
decided.
yet.
So thank you all, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.